For as long as people have been doing the whole being a society thing, they've been protesting about something or another. And while protesting comes protest signs, poignant, often funny, and playing on the trends of the day, here are some of the ways that protest signs are being utilized and immortalized. And for the most part, I'm gonna be an American on this one, so... In the past 2 years, there seems to be a lot to protest about, and a lot of interest in preserving the signs that came before. In Bonnie Siegler's book, she outlines the many various ways Americans have protested over the years. From World War II propaganda, to the anti-Vietnam protests, and there are lots of those, so many, to women's issues. Of course, the past year or two have brought us a goldmine, the American government itself. Itself, very much, currently, a joke. Often blending with the women's rights issues, seeing as the two entities don't currently get along, between Time's Up and the Women's March, both coming up in 2017 as a way of speaking up against the powers that be. Sometimes, their signs are a bit crude and a bit crass, and the societies that are saving them won't be saving those ones specifically. But they're still worth noting as the only ways to be heard. They bring a female perspective to the protesting genre. Though this isn't the first time a conservative government with a celebrity president has clashed with a minority group over an issue of their lives. Enter the AIDS crisis, an understudied, poorly understood period in American history. In the evocative series that came to define the protests of the era, meet Silence Equals Death, a series of posters inspired by the 60s in coalition with ACT UP to show that AIDS victims weren't just going to go away because the government refused to talk about them. Back in the present, we still have things to protest about. The Brexit vote is getting most of the country to poke fun at the state and state their cases for why they don't want to stay in the European Union, as well as throw out the government that doesn't want to make a decision about it all. Of course, it must be done in the most British of fashions, the only way that the British know how. Look at all of those posters. Look at that very British poster. Isn't it impressive? I think it's impressive. And finally, closer to home, students at our own university staged a protest against Doug Ford's OSAP cuts and students' ability to get an education. Whether their pleas, along with multiple other universities across Ontario, have been heard, has yet to be seen. But for now, hands off our OSAP, Doug. There will always be protests, and because of that, there will always be protest signs. Long may they reign.